The TSA agent wrote on my passport, "Ask for gate change. They're waiting for you at B7. I stared at the blue ink scribbled on my boarding pass. It was 6:45 in the morning at DFW Airport. I just cleared security with 15 minutes until boarding. Now this. The TSA agent who wrote it, Officer Williams according to his badge, had moved on to the next passenger. Like nothing happened. Like he hadn't just written something that made my stomach drop. I stood there while people flowed around me, grabbing bags and shoes from the conveyor belt. Gate B7 was my gate. Flight 2847 to San Francisco. Departing at 7:30. Nothing special about it. I looked back at Officer Williams. He was maybe 50, with reading glasses and the tired look of an early shift worker. He glanced up at me for just a second. I saw fear in his eyes, real fear. Then he looked away. My first thought was mistake. Wrong passenger. Maybe a prank. I pulled out my phone and checked my boarding pass. United Airlines, Flight 2847, Dallas to San Francisco, Gate B7, Seat 23C, everything normal. I googled Gate B7 DFW incidents. Nothing. This was stupid. I was going to miss my flight over a weird note that probably meant nothing. But Officer Williams's face stopped me. That wasn't the look of someone joking around. I decided to watch the gate from a distance first, just to be safe. I walked toward B gates, but stopped at a Starbucks with a clear view of the boarding area. Ordered coffee I didn't need. Positioned myself where I could see everything. Gate B7 was at the end of the concourse. The plane was already there. Ground crew moving around it. Passengers gathering at the gate, looking bored and tired like always. Then I saw them. 2 men in business suits standing near the gate. They looked normal at first. Dark suits, carry-ons, dress shoes, business travelers. But something was wrong. They weren't looking at their phones. Everyone in airports looks at phones. It's automatic. But these two were just standing there, scanning, watching. One was tall, maybe 6'3", with a crew cut and broad shoulders. The other was shorter, stockier, shaved head. Both looked like they lived in gyms. And they stood like cops, alert, ready. The tall one had a bulge under his jacket. Left side. I grew up around my uncle who was police. I knew what a shoulder holster looked like. My coffee tasted like acid. The TSA agent had been right. Someone was waiting at B7. 2 someones, armed. Watching for someone specific. Were they watching for me? That seemed crazy. I'm nobody. Lyle Brennan, 34, software engineer at a mid-sized tech company in San Jose. I write code for database systems. The most exciting thing in my life is arguing about pull requests. Then I remembered the deposition. 3 months ago, I testified in a legal case. My former employer, DataStream Technologies, was being sued by Hexagon Technologies for patent infringement. Hexagon claimed we stole their code. They were lying. I knew because I wrote that code myself, from scratch. Years before Hexagon filed their patents, I had documentation proving everything. My testimony destroyed their case. I proved not only that we didn't steal anything, but that their patents were fraudulent, backdated, fake. The trial starts in 2 weeks. I'm the key witness, and Hexagon stands to lose $400 million if they lose $400 million. I set down my coffee. My hand was shaking. This was paranoid. Companies hire lawyers, not hitmen. This is America. But I kept watching those 2 men. They kept scanning the crowd. The shorter one checked his watch, said something to the tall one. They moved to opposite sides of the gate. Better coverage, better angles. These weren't travelers. These were hunters. My phone buzzed. Text from my wife, Devin. Did you board yet? Iris wants to say hi before school. Iris was our daughter. 6 years old. First grade. Obsessed with collecting rocks. Devin taught at the community college. We had a mortgage and a cat named Biscuit. We were normal, safe, boring, I texted back. Not yet. Boarding soon. We'll call after I'm settled. I couldn't tell Devin I was hiding in a Starbucks, watching armed men at my gate, too scared to board. I looked at the note again. Ask for gate change. They're waiting for you at B7. Officer Williams risked something to write this. TSA agents don't write warnings on boarding passes. He could get fired. But he did it anyway. That meant he knew something. Something specific enough to warn a stranger. I needed more information before making any move. I walked away from the Starbucks and headed to a different United counter. Gate C12. A young agent there, maybe 25. Blonde ponytail. Name tag reading Stephanie. Excuse me, I said. I need to change to a later flight. Something came up. She smiled professionally. Of course, let me help. ID, please. I handed her my license. She typed on her computer. Pulled up my reservation. Then her fingers stopped. She frowned. Is something wrong? She looked at the screen. Then at me. Then back to the screen. This is unusual. Your ticket was upgraded this morning. To first class. What? Yeah, at 5:17 a.m. you were moved from 23C to seat 4A, first class. Did you request that? No, I booked economy 3 weeks ago. Never asked for an upgrade. Her frown deepened. Let me check something. More typing. I saw her professional mask crack, confusion, then concern. Who processed it? I asked. She bit her lip. It shows corporate booking office. But that's weird. Corporate doesn't handle individual changes. That's done at gates or call centers. Can you see who specifically made the change? More clicking. She shook her head. Just show system admin. No username. My mouth went dry. Someone accessed United's system. Moved me to first class without my knowledge. Someone with admin access. Stephanie, I said quietly, has this happened before? She looked around. Made sure no one was nearby. Lowered her voice. Why are you asking? Because a TSA agent just warned me not to go to my gate. You're telling me someone secretly upgraded my ticket. And there are 2 armed men watching my gate right now. Her face went pale. She stared at me. I saw her making a decision. Step back from the counter, she said. Act casual. Look at your phone. I moved back. Pulled out my phone. Pretended to check email. She typed quickly. Glanced around, then gestured me back. This is the 3rd one, she whispered. 3rd what? 3rd ticket like this in 2 months. Same pattern. Economy to first class. System admin. No explanation. What happened to the other passengers? Her hands shook slightly. First was David Ramirez, 8 weeks ago. Got the upgrade. His wife filed a missing person report 3 days later. He never came home. I felt the floor drop. And the second? Kelly Brandt, 5 weeks ago. Also to San Francisco. Also disappeared. They found her car at SFO. No sign of her. She never checked into her hotel. Just vanished. Did police investigate? She nodded. Airport police, FBI even. Cases went cold. No evidence. Just 2 people who boarded planes and were never seen again. My legs felt weak. 2 before me. Both upgraded. Both disappeared. Stephanie, I need details. Everything you remember. Not here, she whispered. Too many cameras. She wrote something on paper. Handed it to me with my license. That's my cell. I'm off at 3. Call me if you're still in Dallas. I have information, but I can't talk here. I took the paper, but I didn't have until 3. Is there any connection between Ramirez and Brandt? Anything linking them? She clicked through screens. They were both tech industry. Ramirez was software engineer. Brandt was consultant. And, she paused, they both have the same note in their records. What note? VIP handling required. Added same day as their upgrades. No explanation what it means. She pulled up my reservation. You have it too. VIP handling required. Added this morning. The words hung between us. VIP handling. Code for something. Instructions. I need to find Officer Williams, I said. The TSA agent. He knows something. Stephanie looked terrified. What are you going to do? Figure out what VIP handling means. And what happened to those 2 people. I walked away, mind racing. 2 before me. Both disappeared. Both tech industry. Both flying to San Francisco. I pulled out my phone. Googled David Ramirez missing DFW. First result was Dallas Morning News. 8 weeks old, local man missing after business trip. David Ramirez, 41, reported missing by wife after failing to return from San Francisco. Last seen boarding United Flight 2847 at DFW. No trace found. Flight 2847, my flight. I searched Kelly Brandt missing person. Another article, 5 weeks old. Tech consultant vanishes during trip. Kelly Brandt, 38, disappeared during business trip to San Francisco. Scheduled to testify as expert witness in patent case. Never arrived at courthouse. Rental car found at airport. Expert witness. Patent case. I clicked deeper. Brandt was testifying about code analysis in a case involving Hexagon Technologies. Hexagon, the company suing my employer. The company I'm testifying against. This wasn't coincidence. This was a pattern. Hexagon was eliminating witnesses. My phone rang. Unknown number. I stared at it. Finally answered. Hello? Mr. Brennan. The voice was smooth, professional. Kevin Driscoll, Hexagon Technologies Legal Department. I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time. My blood froze. How did you get this number? Not difficult to find witness contact info. I wanted to discuss the trial. We think there's been misunderstandings. We'd like to find resolution. I have nothing to discuss with you. Sometimes direct conversation helps, without lawyers complicating things. I noticed you're traveling today. DFW to San Francisco. I'm at the airport myself. Perhaps coffee before your flight? He knew where I was. Knew my flight. Was here. I'm not meeting you. A pause. Then his voice changed. Harder. Mr. Brennan, Hexagon is a $2 billion company with extensive resources. Your deposition was damaging. Trial testimony would be, let's say, problematic. For people who don't like problems. Are you threatening me? I'm offering opportunity. $500,000 for reconsidering your involvement. Tell DataStream's lawyers you made mistakes. Can't reliably testify, and if I refuse, then be more careful which flights you book. DFW is large. Lots of places for things to go wrong. Lots of ways for people to get lost. The call ended. I stood there staring at my phone. That was a direct threat. Not even hidden. I looked at gate B7, the two men still there. Still watching. VIP handling. Special handling for witnesses who needed to disappear. First class upgrade to isolate them. System admin booking to stay off radar. Men at the gate to ensure it worked. I wasn't getting on that plane. But I wasn't safe in this airport either. I needed help. Real help. Law enforcement that couldn't be bought. I looked at Stephanie's number. She said she had information. Information she couldn't share at the counter. I needed somewhere private to talk. Away from cameras. I started walking toward the employee areas. Saw a sign reading employees only with a card reader. That's where I needed to be. I called Stephanie's number. She answered fast. This is Stephanie. It's Lyle Brennan. I need to talk now. Not at 3. Now. Somewhere private. Pause. What happened? Hexagon called me. Direct threat. 500,000 to change testimony or I end up like the others. I think Ramirez and Brandt were murdered. I'm next unless I get help immediately. Longer pause. I heard her breathing. Deciding whether to believe me. Whether to risk her job for a stranger. Where are you? She finally asked. Near gate C9. By the employee door. Stay there. 2 minutes. She hung up. I stood by the door trying to look casual. Inside, my mind screamed to run. To get out. But nowhere was safe. Not if Hexagon could make people vanish from airports. Running just made me a moving target. The door opened. Stephanie appeared. Terrified but determined. Come on, she said. Don't look at cameras. I slipped through behind her. We were in a concrete corridor now. Fluorescent lights. Cinder block walls. The backstage of the airport. All the ugly infrastructure tourists never see. Where are we going? My uncle's office. Baggage handling supervisor. He can help, and it's not monitored the same way. We moved fast through corridors. Past break rooms. Past luggage conveyors. Past maintenance closets. She stopped at a door. Baggage services supervisor knocked twice. Opened it. Uncle Robert? It's me. The man inside looked up from his computer. Late 50s, gray hair, weathered face. Decades of airport work written in the lines around his eyes. United Airlines supervisor uniform. Uncle Robert, this is Lyle Brennan. He's in trouble. Same kind as those missing passengers I told you about. Robert's expression changed instantly. Alert. Serious. He stood and closed the door. Tell me everything, he said. Start from the beginning. So I did. The warning from Officer Williams. The men at B7, the mysterious upgrade. The VIP handling note. David Ramirez and Kelly Brandt. The patent case. Kevin Driscoll's threatening call. When I finished, Robert sat down heavily. Quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled up something on his computer. I've been tracking the disappearances, he said. Not officially. On my own time. Airport police weren't taking it seriously. I found things that didn't make sense. He turned the monitor toward me. Security logs. Access records. Maintenance reports. David Ramirez boarded flight 2847 on March 15th. Security footage shows him scanning his pass at 7:28 a.m., entering the jetway. But here's the thing. There's no footage of him in San Francisco. He never came off that plane. Maybe he got off during a connection. Robert shook his head. Direct flight. No connections. And United tracks every passenger boarding and deplaning. System shows Ramirez boarded in Dallas. No record of him deplaning anywhere. Like he vanished mid-flight. That's impossible. Should be impossible. But it happened. Same exact way with Kelly Brandt. He pulled up more records. Same flight, different date. Brandt boards in Dallas. Enters jetway. No record in San Francisco. How? I asked. Where did they go? Robert pulled up an airport schematic. Here's what I think. They boarded normally. But before takeoff, they were removed through maintenance access. Every gate has service doors connecting to below-wing areas. Right credentials. You can access those without going through main terminal. Wouldn't the crew notice? Not if it was coordinated. First class boards first. Sits up front. Someone in airline uniform comes aboard. Says there's a security issue with a passenger. Asks them to come for questioning. Other passengers might not notice. Crew might think it's legit protocol. My stomach turned. So they board. Get pulled off before takeoff. Then what? Robert's face went grim. Then they were taken somewhere in the airport industrial area. Maybe killed immediately. Maybe held. I don't know. But they never left DFW alive. He pulled out his phone. Showed me photos. An expensive briefcase. Scratched. Dirty. Found this in a cargo dumpster 2 weeks after Ramirez disappeared. Had his business cards inside. His initials on the handle. Turned it over to airport police. They said it didn't prove anything. Said maybe he threw it away himself. They didn't investigate? Robert shook his head bitterly. Investigated 48 hours. Closed it as missing person outside their jurisdiction. Said if he disappeared in California, not their problem. What about Brandt? No physical evidence. But I found her name in maintenance access logs. Someone with her last name, same day as her flight, signed into restricted area using contractor badge. Badge registered to company called Greystone Security Solutions. Ever heard of them? Looked them up. Private security contractor. Supposedly hired for enhanced security at DFW. But when I asked my supervisor, he'd never heard of any enhanced security program. I tried finding who authorized their access. Dead ends. Bureaucratic circles, they're operating without authorization? Or someone high up authorized it. High enough my supervisor doesn't know. Either way, they've had unrestricted access here for 3 months. Right when disappearances started, Stephanie spoke up. Uncle Robert, Lyle got a phone call. From Hexagon Technologies. They threatened him directly. Robert looked at me sharply. What exactly did they say? I repeated the conversation. Word for word. The bribe. The threats. The comment about DFW being dangerous. Robert stood and locked his office door. Pulled out an old flip phone. Who are you calling? Someone who can actually help. He dialed from memory. David? Robert. Need you at DFW right now. Terminal B, baggage services. FBI level situation. Pause. No, can't explain on phone. Trust me, get here fast. He hung up. My brother-in-law. David Park, FBI agent, white-collar crime. Been after corporate corruption for years. If anyone takes this seriously, it's him. How long? Downtown Dallas. Maybe 45 minutes with traffic, 5 minutes. I had to stay hidden and safe for 45 minutes. I checked my phone for the time. Saw a notification. New credit card charge. $2,400 to United Airlines. I didn't make any United purchase, opened my banking app with shaking hands. One-way ticket Dallas to Mexico City. Departing 10:30 a.m. from Terminal D. What's wrong? Stephanie saw my face. I showed her. Someone just bought a plane ticket with my card. To Mexico City. Leaving in 3 hours. Robert leaned over. They're creating a paper trail. Making it look like you fled the country. When you don't show at trial, they'll point to this. Say you ran, but I didn't buy it. Doesn't matter. Purchase with your card. Your account. That's enough for reasonable doubt about your credibility. Add fake emails, planted documents. They paint you as unreliable witness who skipped country. Stephanie was staring at her phone, scrolling with alarm. Lyle, I'm looking at passenger manifest for flight 2847. Shows you checked in and boarded. What? I'm standing here, I know. But system shows you scanned boarding pass at 7:15. Boarded aircraft. Listed as active passenger. Flight pushes back in 5 minutes. Impossible. I never went near B7. Robert grabbed his terminal. Pulled up security logs. Here. Boarding pass matching your reservation scanned at B7 at 7:14. System recorded you boarding. Fake boarding pass, I said. Or they hacked the system. Robert's face went pale. More sophisticated than I thought. They're not just making you disappear. Creating complete digital trail to explain it. System shows you boarded Dallas. Never deplaned San Francisco. Then purchased ticket to Mexico. Looks like you disappeared voluntarily. Running from legal problems. Stephanie grabbed my arm. Lyle, if the system shows you boarded that plane, and it takes off, then you show up elsewhere in airport, security thinks you're a threat. They'll detain you. Arrest you, she was right. I was being framed in real time. My digital identity boarding a plane I wasn't on. Buying tickets I didn't authorize. Creating a narrative I couldn't control. How long until your brother-in-law gets here? I asked Robert. He checked his watch. 40 minutes. Maybe less if traffic's light. I had to hide for 40 minutes. Stay safe. Not get arrested as a security threat. Then I could tell my story to someone who could help. But standing in that office, surrounded by schematics and logs and evidence of previous murders, I felt time running out. Somewhere in this airport. Driscoll and his people were watching cameras, tracking transactions, monitoring every system. Any second they'd figure out where I was. Robert's computer beeped. Security alert flashing on screen. What is it? Stephanie asked. Someone's searching employee access logs. He clicked through screens. They're tracking badge usage, looking for unauthorized entries into restricted areas. They know I'm back here. Not yet. But they will. Soon. Robert stood up. Opened a cabinet. Pulled out two-way radios and spare employee badges. Put this on, he said, handing me a badge. If anyone stops you, say you're new hire doing orientation. Keep your head down. Don't talk to anyone. Where are we going? Can't stay here. They'll search this office once they narrow the access logs. Need to keep moving until David arrives. Stephanie took a radio. Where should we go? Cargo areas. Maintenance tunnels. Places with multiple exits. Harder to trap someone there. Robert's phone rang. His personal cell. He looked at the screen. frowned. "It's airport security dispatch." "They don't usually call me directly," he answered. "Put it on speaker. This is Robert Martinez." "Mr. Martinez, this is Sergeant Chen, airport security. We have a situation. Passenger flagged as potential threat. May have entered employee areas through Terminal B. Need to check if you've seen anyone unauthorized." Robert's eyes met mine. "What does this passenger look like?" "Male, mid-30s, approximately 6 feet tall, brown hair, wearing blue jacket and jeans. Name is Lyle Brennan. He's wanted for questioning regarding suspicious activity." "What kind of suspicious activity?" "Possible identity fraud, credit card irregularities. We need to locate him for his own safety." Robert kept his voice steady. "Haven't seen anyone matching that description. But I'll keep an eye out and call if I do. Appreciate it. And Mr. Martinez? If you do see him, don't approach. Call us immediately. He may be dangerous." The call ended. "They're hunting you," Robert said. "Using airport security to do it? Are they compromised too?" Stephanie asked. "Maybe. Or maybe Hexagon fed them false information. Made you look like the criminal." My hands were shaking. "How many people are looking for me?" Robert pulled up security camera feeds on his computer. Multiple screens showing different terminal areas. I can see at least 6 security officers mobilizing. Plus those 2 contractors at your gate. Plus whoever else Greystone has stationed around the airport. "We need to move," Stephanie said. "Now." Robert grabbed a jacket and radio. "Follow me. Stay close. Don't run." Running attracts attention. We left the office. Entered the corridor. Moved quickly but not frantically toward the cargo areas. Behind us I heard voices. Radio chatter, footsteps. They were getting closer. Robert led us through a door marked "Authorized Personnel Only." Downstairs. Into the belly of the airport. Lower level now. Concrete floors. Massive machinery. The sounds of conveyor belts and cargo equipment echoing off walls. "This way," Robert whispered. We moved through shadows. Between pallets of luggage. Around parked cargo vehicles. A radio crackled nearby. Not ours. Someone else's. We froze. 2 security officers appeared at the far end of the cargo bay. Flashlights sweeping. Looking for something. Looking for me. Robert motioned toward a maintenance tunnel entrance. Small door. Easy to miss if you didn't know it was there. We slipped inside. Pulled the door closed behind us. Total darkness. Then Robert clicked on a small flashlight. "This tunnel connects to Terminal C," he whispered. "Quarter mile. Comes out near the international gates. We can hide there until David arrives." We started moving through the tunnel. Single file. Robert leading. Me in middle. Stephanie behind. The tunnel was narrow. Pipes and cables running along walls. Smell of grease and electricity. My phone buzzed. Text message. "Unknown number. Mr. Brennan. We know you're in the employee areas. There's no escape. Make this easy. Come talk to us. We can still make a deal." I showed Robert the message. He shook his head. "Don't respond. They're trying to get you to give away your position." We kept moving. Footsteps echoing in the enclosed space. Behind us, I heard something. The maintenance door opening. Someone entering the tunnel. They'd found us. "Robert, they're in the tunnel." He clicked off his flashlight. "Keep moving, quiet. Feel the wall to guide you." We moved in complete darkness now. Hands on cold pipes. Feet careful on uneven floor. Behind us, flashlight beams appeared. 2 of them. Sweeping through the tunnel. Voices echoing. "He went this way." "Can't be far. We're getting close." Robert grabbed my arm. Whispered directly in my ear. "Side passage ahead. 20 feet. When I say go, turn right, fast." We kept moving. Counting steps in the dark. Go. We turned. Squeezed into a narrower passage. Pressed against the wall. The flashlights passed. The voices faded. We waited. Breathing shallow. Hearts hammering. Robert's phone vibrated. He checked it. Text from David Park. Arrived at airport. "Where are you?" "Maintenance tunnel between B and C. Being pursued. Need extraction. Stay put." "I'm coming to you." 10 minutes. 10 minutes. We had to survive 10 more minutes in this tunnel. With hunters closing in from both directions. This was going to be close. We pressed against the cold tunnel wall. Waiting in darkness. The hunter's footsteps faded but didn't disappear completely. Robert checked his phone again. Message from David Park, entering Terminal B employee entrance. "Guide me to your location," Robert typed back coordinates. "Maintenance Tunnel 7, Section C, near the auxiliary power junction, 5 minutes out." 5 minutes felt like forever. Stephanie's radio crackled softly. She turned the volume down, but we all heard it. "All units, suspect possibly in maintenance tunnels. Secure all exits. Don't let him reach main terminal." They were sealing us in. Robert motioned forward. "We need to keep moving. Can't stay in one place." We crept through the darkness. Each step careful. The tunnel branched multiple times. Left, right, up, down. A maze of concrete and pipes. Robert knew it by heart. 30 years working here. He'd walked these tunnels thousands of times. We reached a junction. 4 passages meeting. Robert stopped. Checked his phone. David's close. 2 minutes. Behind us, more flashlights appeared. 3 of them now. Voices coordinating. Check the west passage. I'll take east. You cover the junction. We were surrounded. Robert pulled us into a small alcove. Equipment storage. Barely enough room for 3 people. We squeezed in behind electrical panels. Footsteps approached. Heavy boots on concrete. Getting closer. A flashlight beam swept past our hiding spot. Inches from where we stood, the security officer stopped, right outside our alcove. Radio to his mouth. Nothing in Section C. Moving to D. He walked past. We didn't breathe. Then Robert's phone lit up. Text from David, I'm at junction. Where are you? Robert stepped out carefully, shined his small flashlight down the tunnel. 3 quick flashes, an answering flash came back. 1 long pulse, a figure approached from the darkness. Not security uniform. Suit and tie. FBI credentials in hand. David Park, 40-something. Asian American. Sharp eyes that took in everything instantly. Robert, you look terrible. Been a rough morning. This is Lyle Brennan, the witness I told you about. David looked at me. Then at Stephanie. Then back down the tunnel where flashlights were still searching. We need to get out of here, now. I've got backup waiting at Terminal C security office. FBI jurisdiction. Airport security can't touch you there. How do we get there without running into them? I asked. David pulled out a tablet. Airport schematic displayed. I've been tracking security channels. They've got 3 teams in these tunnels. But there's a gap. Here. He pointed to a route on the screen. Freight elevator. Takes us directly to C terminal upper level. Bypasses all the search teams. That elevator's restricted, Robert said. Needs special access. David held up a keycard. Federal override. Works on all emergency systems. We move fast. David leading now. Through tunnels. Past equipment rooms. Toward the freight elevator. My phone buzzed again. Another text from unknown number. Last chance, Mr. Brennan. $500,000. Walk away from this, or we make you disappear permanently. You have 60 seconds to decide. I showed David. He photographed the message with his phone. That's evidence. Witness intimidation. Keep your phone on. Keep recording everything they send. We reached the freight elevator. Large industrial lift. Big enough for cargo pallets. David swiped his card. The doors opened. We piled inside. David hit the button for C terminal upper level. The elevator lurched upward. Stephanie was shaking. Her first time being chased by criminals. Her first time realizing how deep this went. You did good, I told her. You probably saved my life. She managed a weak smile. My uncle's the one who figured it all out. I just answered questions at a ticket counter. Robert put his arm around her. You both did more than most people would. That takes courage. The elevator slowed. Approaching C terminal. David drew his weapon. When these doors open, stay behind me. My team's waiting, but we don't know if Hexagon has people in this area. The doors opened. 4 FBI agents stood there. Weapons drawn. Scanning for threats. Clear, one of them called. David led us out. Into a secured corridor. Through doors marked federal law enforcement only. We entered a conference room. Computers. Recording equipment. 2 more agents working laptops. This is our mobile command center, David said. Been here since this morning. Once Robert called, I mobilized the team. He gestured to chairs. Sit. Tell me everything. And I mean everything, so I did. For the 3rd time that morning, but this time with details. Evidence. Stephanie pulled up the ticket records on her phone. The mysterious upgrades. The VIP handling notes. The disappeared passengers. Robert added his findings. The briefcase. The access logs. Greystone Security, David's team recorded it all. Took notes. Cross-referenced information. When I finished, David sat back. This is bigger than witness intimidation. This is conspiracy to commit murder. Multiple counts. Federal jurisdiction. Can you protect me? I asked. Can you stop them? We can protect you. Already have agents picking up your wife and daughter, taking them to a safe house. You'll join them after we finish here. What about Stephanie and Robert? They helped me. They're targets now too, David nodded. Protective custody for both. Until we roll up this operation. How long will that take? He looked at his team. Then back at me, we move fast. Warrants are being prepared. Judge is standing by. We'll have arrest teams at Hexagon headquarters within 2 hours. Kevin Driscoll. The CEO. Everyone involved in this. What about the men at the airport? The contractors? Already on it. Airport police, the real ones, are rounding up Greystone personnel. We've seized their credentials. Locked down their access. They can't move freely anymore. One of the agents looked up from her laptop. Sir, we've got confirmation. Sarah Chen just called in. She has Brennan's wife and daughter. They're safe. En route to the safe house, I felt tears starting. Devin and Iris were safe. That was all that mattered. David's phone rang. He answered. Put it on speaker. Agent Park. This is Assistant Director Morrison. I've reviewed your briefing. We're green-lit for full operation. Arrest warrants approved. Strike teams mobilizing. You're authorized to proceed. Copy that, sir. And Park, good work. This is exactly the kind of corporate corruption case we need to prosecute. Make it stick. Will do. David hung up. Looked at me. Mr. Brennan, you're officially under federal protection. And in about, he checked his watch. 90 minutes, Kevin Driscoll and everyone who threatened you will be in custody. My phone buzzed one more time. Unknown number. I answered. Put it on speaker like David motioned. Mr. Brennan, Kevin Driscoll. I assume you've spoken with law enforcement by now. Let me make something very clear. Hexagon Technologies has lawyers who will tie this up in court for years. You'll spend the rest of your life in depositions and legal battles. Is that really what you want? David leaned close to the phone. Mr. Driscoll, this is FBI Special Agent David Park. You're being recorded. Everything you've said today, every threat you've made, every action you've taken, it's all evidence. And in approximately 90 minutes, federal agents will be placing you under arrest. I'd suggest you use that time to contact your lawyer. You're going to need one. Silence on the other end. Then the call dropped. David smiled. That felt good. One of the agents called out. Sir, strike teams in position. Hexagon headquarters. Driscoll's home. The airport contractors. All targets identified. Waiting for your signal. David looked at his watch. Execute at 1100 hours. That's 30 minutes from now. 30 minutes until this nightmare ended. I sat back in my chair, exhausted, terrified, but alive. Stephanie was crying quietly. Relief, Robert. Had his arm around her. We'd made it. Against all odds. Against a billion-dollar company with unlimited resources. Against professional killers and corrupt systems. We'd survived. And in 30 minutes, justice would finally come. At exactly 1100 hours, David's radio crackled. All teams, execute. We watched on monitors as it happened in real time. FBI agents swarming Hexagon Technologies headquarters in downtown Dallas. 6 black SUVs, 30 agents, bursting through glass doors. Another screen showed Kevin Driscoll's house in Highland Park. Agents in tactical gear, surrounding the property, battering ram on the front door. A third screen showed DFW Airport. The Greystone contractors being detained, handcuffed, led away. It was like watching a choreographed operation. Simultaneous, precise, overwhelming. David's phone rang constantly. Updates from team leaders. Driscoll in custody. No resistance. CEO Patrick Holloway secured at residence. 12 Greystone personnel detained at airport. One of the agents pulled up financial records on her laptop. Mr. Brennan, look at this. We traced the credit card used for your Mexico ticket. Purchased from an IP address inside Hexagon Technologies. Same IP that accessed United's booking system to upgrade your seat. They didn't even hide it well, David said. Arrogant. Thought they were untouchable. Another agent called out. We've got something. Greystone's office records. Contracts with Hexagon going back 18 months. Payments totaling $3.2 million for security consulting services. What kind of security consulting? I asked. The agent scrolled through documents. Witness management. Asset protection. Problem resolution. All corporate euphemisms for murder. David's phone rang again. He listened. Nodded. Hung up. They found Ramirez and Brandt, he said quietly. Both bodies recovered from an industrial site 30 miles from here. Preliminary evidence suggests they were killed shortly after being removed from the airport. Stephanie covered her mouth. Oh my God, Robert closed his eyes. I knew it. I knew they were dead, but hearing it confirmed. The agent continued reading from Greystone's files. There are 3 other names here. Other witnesses. Other targets. 2 we don't have records for. Possible additional victims. David made notes. We'll investigate each one. Open cold cases if needed. This is going to be massive. My phone buzzed. Text from Devin Dyrus wants to know when you're coming home. FBI agents are nice, but she misses her dad, I typed back. Soon. Very soon. Love you both. An hour passed. More arrests. More evidence seized. The scope kept expanding. Hexagon's CFO. Arrested trying to board a private plane at Love Field. 3 airport officials. Taken into custody for accepting bribes. A federal judge. Under investigation for dismissing previous complaints against Hexagon. It was a conspiracy bigger than anyone had imagined. Corruption reaching through corporate offices, law enforcement, even the courts. David's supervisor called. Assistant Director Morrison on video chat. Park. You've opened up something significant here. Justice Department wants a task force. Full investigation into corporate witness intimidation. Your lead agent. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Morrison's face was grim. How many victims are we looking at, potentially? David glanced at his notes. Confirmed dead, 2. Attempted murder 1. Possibly 3 to 5 more we haven't identified yet. And that's just Hexagon. Greystone has contracts with 6 other corporations facing major litigation, so this could be a pattern across multiple cases. That's our working theory. Greystone specialized in making corporate problems disappear. Witnesses, whistleblowers, anyone threatening billion-dollar verdicts. Morrison nodded. Prosecute it hard. I want convictions that send a message. Corporations can't murder their way out of legal accountability. The video call ended. David looked at me. How are you holding up? I'm alive. That's more than Ramirez and Brandt can say. You'll need to testify. Not just at the Hexagon patent trial. At the criminal trials for Driscoll, the contractors, everyone involved. I nodded. Whatever it takes, Stephanie spoke up. What happens to me and Uncle Robert? Do we go back to work tomorrow like nothing happened? David shook his head. You're both critical witnesses too. You exposed the pattern, provided evidence, helped save a life. You'll have protection until trials conclude. Probably 6 to 8 months. I can't take 8 months off work, Stephanie said. I have Bill's witness compensation program. Federal government covers living expenses for material witnesses in major cases. You'll be taken care of. Robert asked the question I'd been afraid to ask. What about Officer Williams, the TSA agent who warned Lyle? David pulled up a file. We picked him up 2 hours ago. Protective custody. He's cooperating fully. Turns out Greystone threatened him 3 months ago. Said they'd hurt his family if he didn't identify certain passengers. He helped them with Ramirez and Brandt. The guilt was eating him alive. So he saved me to make up for them. Redemption is a powerful motivator. He'll face charges for his role, but his cooperation in warning you will factor into sentencing. Probably probation rather than prison time. Another agent called across the room. Agent Park, you need to see this. We gathered around her laptop. She'd opened files from Driscoll's personal computer, seized during the raid. Emails between Driscoll and Greystone, discussing the Brennan problem. Detailed plans for the airport operation. Contingencies if I escaped. And this, the agent said, opening another file. A list of 12 names. Witnesses in various corporate cases. Cases involving patent disputes, fraud allegations, environmental violations. 8 names were crossed out, including David Ramirez and Kelly Brandt. 4 names remained, including mine. Are those all targets? I asked. The agent nodded. Priority witnesses, scheduled for elimination. You were number 9 on the list. Who are the other 3? She pulled up details. Software engineer in Seattle, testifying against a medical device company. Accountant in Boston exposing pharmaceutical fraud. Environmental scientist in Denver with evidence against an oil corporation. David grabbed his phone. Get protective details on those 3 immediately. Round the clock. Treat them as active targets until we confirm they're safe. He looked at me. You just saved 3 more lives. If we hadn't caught this today, they'd be next. The weight of that hit me. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was about a system of corporate murder that had been operating for years. Another call came in. David answered, listened. His expression darkened. When? Okay, secure the scene. I'm sending forensics. He hung up. Greystone's CEO just died. Car accident on the highway during transport to Federal Holding. Vehicle rolled multiple times. Accident or murder? Robert asked. Too convenient to be accident. Someone didn't want him talking. So this goes even deeper, Stephanie said. David nodded. Which means we're not done. Not by a long shot. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but David motioned for me to pick up. Hello? Mr. Brennan, congratulations on your victory today. The voice was unfamiliar, older, cultured accent, British maybe, but this is far from over. Hexagon was one client among many. Greystone was one contractor among several. You've won a battle. The war continues. Who is this? Someone who prefers to remain anonymous. Consider this a courtesy warning. Stay quiet about what you've learned. Testify at your little patent trial if you must. But don't dig deeper into the other names on that list. Don't make yourself more of a problem than you already are. David was frantically signaling his team. Trace the call. Trace it now, the voice continued. The people I represent have resources that make Hexagon look like a lemonade stand. We've been doing this for 30 years across 6 continents. You got lucky today. Don't push that luck. The call ended. David's team worked their laptops. Tracing. One agent looked up. Burner phone. Routing through international servers. No way to track origin. David looked at me. You just got a threat from someone bigger than Hexagon. I sat down heavily. How many layers does this go? As many as we're willing to uncover, David said. The question is, are you willing to keep fighting? I thought about Devon and Iris. About going home to safety. About returning to my boring life writing database code. Then I thought about Ramirez and Brandt. About the 8 crossed out names. About 3 people who were still targets. Yes, I said. I'm willing. Then we keep digging, David said. Because if we stop now, they win, and that's not acceptable. 2 days later, I sat in a different safe house. Suburban neighborhood outside Fort Worth. 3-bedroom ranch. FBI agents rotating shifts outside. Devin and Iris were with me now. Iris didn't understand why we couldn't go home. Why armed people watched our house. Why Daddy looked scared all the time. Devin understood. She'd read the news reports. Hexagon executives arrested. Bodies found. Conspiracy to commit murder. Are we safe? She asked that first night. David Park says yes, but that phone call keeps playing in my head. Someone bigger. Someone who's been doing this for 30 years. Devin held my hand. We'll get through this. I wanted to believe her. Day 3. David arrived with his team. Laptops, files, evidence boxes. We need your help, he said. The 3 other targets on that list. We've got them in protection, but we need to understand the pattern. Why these specific people? What connects them besides testifying against corporations? I looked at the names. Jennifer Cow, software engineer in Seattle. Marcus Webb, accountant in Boston. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo, environmental scientist in Denver. Can I talk to them? I asked. David set up video calls. Secured connection. Encrypted. Jennifer appeared on screen first. Asian American woman, late 30s. Exhausted looking, Mr. Brennan? The FBI said you're the reason they found me before Greystone did. We found each other. What case are you involved in? Medical device company called Biomed Solutions. I worked there 3 years. Discovered they were falsifying safety data on cardiac implants. Devices that were failing at twice the expected rate. Causing patient deaths. You reported it? Tried internal channels first. Got nowhere. So I went to FDA. Gave them everything. Documents, test results, internal emails. Biomed is facing billion-dollar recall and lawsuits. When did things get dangerous? 2 months ago. Started receiving threats. Someone broke into my apartment. Nothing stolen. Just moved things around. Message that they could reach me anytime. Then my car's brake lines were cut. I reported it to police, but they said no evidence of tampering. The call ended. David pulled up Marcus Webb next. Black man, mid-40s. Accountant with thick glasses and nervous energy. I worked for Pharmatech Industries, he said. Big pharmaceutical company. I was senior accountant. Had access to everything. Found out they were bribing doctors to prescribe their medications. Kickbacks disguised as consulting fees. Research grants to universities that were really hush money. You're testifying about this? Grand jury in 3 weeks. Federal fraud case. Pharmatech stands to lose $2 billion in penalties plus criminal charges for executives. What happened when they found out you were cooperating? My house caught fire. Electrical fault, they said. But I'm an accountant, not an idiot. I know arson when I see it. Then my daughter got followed home from school. 10 years old. Someone in a car just watching her, his voice cracked. That's when I knew they'd kill me if given the chance. Last call was Dr. Sarah Okonkwo. Nigerian accent. Early 50s. Geologist specializing in environmental impact. I did field research for Apex Energy Corporation, she explained. Oil drilling in Colorado. Found evidence they were illegally dumping toxic waste, contaminating groundwater that supplies 3 towns. Cancer rates in those areas spiked 40% over 5 years. You reported it to EPA and state authorities. Apex is facing criminal charges plus mandatory cleanup that'll cost $800 million. They tried to discredit me first. Said my research was flawed. When that didn't work, threats started. What kind of threats? Direct ones. Voice messages saying I should drop my testimony or accidents happen. My lab was broken into. Research destroyed. Then someone ran me off the road last month. Totaled my car. Police called it road rage. The calls ended. David's team compiled information. 4 witnesses, one agent said. 4 different corporations. 4 different types of fraud. But all connected through Greystone security. And all worth billions in potential losses, another agent added. Biomed, $2 billion. Pharmatech, $2 billion. Apex Energy, $800 million. Hexagon, $400 million. That's over $5 billion total. David studied the files. Greystone didn't just handle security. They handled corporate crisis management through elimination of problems. Witnesses, whistleblowers, journalists, regulators, anyone threatening massive financial damages. One agent pulled up more files. We found Greystone's client list. 23 corporations over the past decade. Tech companies, pharmaceutical, energy, defense contractors, financial institutions. How many potential victims are we talking about? The agent scrolled through names. Based on their internal records, at least 47 assignments completed successfully. That's their language. Assignments completed. We think that means 47 murders. The room went silent. 47 people killed to protect corporate profits. Over 10 years. And nobody noticed the pattern until now. David's supervisor called. Assistant Director Morrison on video again. Park. Justice Department is all over this. Attorney General wants daily briefings. This is now a national priority investigation. Sir, we're looking at potentially 47 victims across multiple states. I know. I've seen the preliminary reports. We're establishing a joint task force. FBI, DOJ, state agencies, your lead coordinator. Whatever resources you need, you get them. We'll need protection for dozens of witnesses. Safe houses, security details, ongoing monitoring, approved. I'm authorizing overtime, additional agents, full support. This is the biggest corporate corruption case in 20 years. The call ended. David looked at me. You started something that's going to take years to fully prosecute. Every case Greystone touched, we have to reopen. Every suspicious death, every accident, every disappeared witness. I thought about those 47 people. 47 lives ended because they tried to do the right thing. What happens to the corporations? I asked. The ones who hired Greystone? Criminal investigations into all of them. RICO charges potentially. Conspiracy to commit murder. Obstruction of justice. We're talking about executives facing life in prison. And the person who called me? The one who said Greystone was just one contractor among several? We're working that angle. Trying to identify who's above Greystone in the food chain. But it's difficult. Layers of shell companies, offshore accounts, international connections. So they're still out there. David nodded. Which means you're still in danger. All 4 of you. Until we roll up the entire network. How long will that take? Honestly, years. Maybe 5. Maybe 10. We're dismantling something that's been operating since the 90s. I can't live in a safe house for 10 years. My daughter can't grow up surrounded by armed guards. You won't have to. Once the immediate threats are neutralized, once Hexagon's people are convicted and Greystone is dismantled, the danger level drops significantly. You'll still need some protection, but not like this. When does the trial start? My testimony against Hexagon? 2 weeks. Fast track due to the criminal charges. Judge wants it resolved quickly. And the other trials? Driscoll? The contractors? Those will take longer. 6 months minimum. You'll testify in all of them. So will Stephanie and Robert. So will Officer Williams. Speaking of Williams, what's his status? David pulled up a file. Charged with obstruction and accessory after the fact for helping with Ramirez and Brandt. But given his cooperation and his warning to you, prosecutor is recommending 2 years probation and community service. No prison time, that's fair. He saved my life, that's what we told the judge. My phone buzzed. Text from Stephanie, how are you holding up? This is insane. Uncle Robert says hi, I texted back. Alive, that's what matters. Tell Robert thank you. For everything. David stood up. His team packing laptops and files. We're moving you tomorrow, he said. Different safe house. Different city. Standard protocol. Never stay in one location too long. Where? Can't tell you until we're in transit. Security protocols. When can we go home? After the Hexagon trial. After Driscoll's arrested associates start talking. After we're confident the immediate threat is gone. Maybe 4 months, 4 months. Iris would be 7 by then. Would miss her birthday. Would miss half of 2nd grade. Devin saw my face. We'll make it work, she said. We're together. That's what matters. That night I couldn't sleep. Kept thinking about Jennifer, Marcus, Sarah. 3 strangers whose lives intersected with mine because we all threatened corporate profits. Kept thinking about Ramirez and Brandt. About their families. About the 47 others who didn't survive. Devin found me at 2 a.m. staring out the window. FBI agent visible in the yard. Keeping watch. You're thinking about them, she said. I'm thinking about how close I came. If Officer Williams hadn't written that note, if Stephanie hadn't noticed the pattern, if Robert hadn't been tracking the disappearances, but they did. And you're here, I'm here because good people risked everything to help a stranger. That's not normal. That shouldn't be rare. She put her arm around me. Maybe it's more common than you think. Maybe there are more people like them than people like Driscoll. I wanted to believe that. Day 4, David returned with news. Kevin Driscoll is cooperating, he said. Full confession. Names, dates, payments, everything. He's giving up the entire Hexagon conspiracy to reduce his sentence. What's he getting? 20 years instead of life. Still dying in prison, but with possibility of release when he's 70. And what is he giving you? Names of everyone involved. Board members who authorized the hits. Lawyers who facilitated payments. The airport officials who were bribed. Everything. What about the voice on the phone? The person above Greystone? Driscoll claims he doesn't know. Says all his contact with Greystone went through a handler. Never met anyone from upper management. Do you believe him? David shrugged. Partially. I think there's more he could tell us. But he's scared. Even facing 20 years, he's terrified of whoever's really running this operation. Because they can reach him in prison. Exactly. Which tells us how powerful they are. My phone rang. Unknown number again. David nodded. Answer it. We're recording. Hello? Different voice this time. Female, American, professional. Mr. Brennan, you've caused significant disruptions. My employers are not pleased. Who are your employers? People who value discretion. Who solve problems for corporations that can't solve them through legal means. Greystone was sloppy. Got caught. But there are others. Cleaner operations. More professional. Is that a threat? It's information. A courtesy. Because you've shown courage and intelligence. Rare qualities. My employers believe you could be useful. Useful how? The woman laughed. Consulting work. You understand corporate systems. You understand how witnesses think. You could help us identify problems before they become threats. Very lucrative. Very safe. You want me to help you kill people? We prefer terms like crisis management and asset protection. But yes, essentially. Think about it. Your family would be protected. Financially secure. No more looking over your shoulder. I looked at David. He was signaling his team. Recording, tracing. I'm not interested, I said. Pity. The alternative is that you remain a loose end. And we don't leave loose ends unresolved. The call ended. David's team worked frantically. Tracing the call. Burner phone, one agent called out. Routed through VPN. Dead end. David looked at me. They just tried to recruit you. When that failed, they threatened you again. Who are these people? That's what we need to find out, before they make good on their threats. 3 weeks later, the Hexagon patent trial began. Federal courthouse in San Jose. Heavy security. Metal detectors. Armed marshals everywhere. I sat in the witness room waiting to testify. David Park stood by the door. 2 other agents in the hallway. Devin and Iris were in a different safe house now. Outside Sacramento. I hadn't seen them in 5 days. Security protocols. My lawyer, provided by DataStream Technologies, went over my testimony one more time. Just tell the truth, he said. Walk them through the code. Show the timeline. The evidence speaks for itself. What about the murder charges? Can they bring that up? The prosecutor will keep it separate. This is a civil patent case. The criminal conspiracy is different proceedings. But the jury knows. Everyone knows. It's been all over the news. A bailiff opened the door. Mr. Brennan, you're up. I walked into the courtroom. Jury box full. 12 faces watching me. Judge Patricia Hoffman presiding. Same judge from the emergency hearing. Hexagon's legal team sat at the defense table. 6 lawyers. Expensive suits. Faces tight with stress. Their clients' executives were in federal prison. Their company was collapsing. But they still had to defend this case. DataStream's lawyer stood. Your Honor, we call Lyle Brennan. I took the stand. Swore to tell the truth. Sat down. The next 4 hours were technical. Walking through code repositories. Explaining algorithms. Showing commit histories with timestamps proving I'd written everything years before Hexagon's patents existed. The jury looked confused sometimes. Code isn't easy to understand. But the timeline was clear. I created this in 2019. Hexagon filed patents in 2022. Simple math. Hexagon's lawyers cross-examined. Tried to poke holes. Suggested I'd backdated documentation. Claimed timestamps could be manipulated. I stayed calm. Explained version control systems. How Git worked. How blockchain verification proved authenticity. They had nothing. We both knew it. After my testimony, I was excused. Walked out of the courtroom flanked by FBI agents. David met me in the hallway. You did great. Clear, credible, unshakable. How long until verdict? Jury deliberation could be days, but this case is straightforward. Hexagon's defense was destroyed before it started. We left through a side entrance. Into a waiting SUV. Tinted windows. 2 more agents inside. Where to now? I asked. Safe house for tonight. Tomorrow we move you again. When can I see my family? After verdict. After we're sure no retaliatory actions are planned. Maybe 3 days, 3 more days. Felt like forever. That night at the safe house, I watched news coverage. Trial was headline news. Not just the patent case. The entire conspiracy. Hexagon Technologies facing collapse. Stock price down 90%. Board members resigning. Criminal trials pending. Greystone Security officially dissolved. Assets seized. Offices raided across 6 states. 23 corporations under federal investigation for potential involvement with Greystone's services. Jennifer Cow, Marcus Webb, and Dr. Sarah Okonkwo all testifying in their respective cases. All under federal protection. 47 suspicious deaths being reinvestigated. Families of victims filing wrongful death suits. It was massive. Bigger than Enron. Bigger than Theranos. A systemic corruption that had operated in shadows for years. My phone rang. David Park verdict's in, he said. Already? That was fast. Jury deliberated 4 hours. Judge is reading it now. I turned on the TV. Found the news channel covering it live. Courtroom sketch artists showing the scene. The judge's voice came through audio feed. In the matter of data stream technologies versus hexagon technologies, we the jury find in favor of the plaintiff on all counts. The newsroom erupted. Reporters talking over each other. Hexagon ordered to pay $400 million in damages. Patents invalidated. Additional sanctions for fraudulent filings. I sat back. We won. DataStream won. The truth won, but it felt hollow. Because Ramirez and Brandt were still dead. Because 47 others never got justice, David called back. Congratulations. You were the key witness. This verdict changes everything. What happens to Hexagon now? Bankruptcy, probably. Company's already worthless. This verdict just makes it official. But the criminal cases continue regardless. When do those trials start? Driscoll's trial in 3 months. He's pleading guilty, so it'll be quick. Sentencing hearing mainly. Other defendants going to trial next year. You'll testify in all of them. More months of safe houses. More time away from normal life. But at least we're alive, I said. At least you're alive. 2 days later, they reunited me with Devin and Iris. Different safe house. Somewhere in Northern California. Mountains, trees. Isolated Iris ran to me crying. Daddy, I missed you so much. I held her tight. Missed you too, sweetheart. Devin hugged me next. How are you, really? Tired. Scared, but alive. The FBI says we can go home soon. Maybe 2 more weeks. Home. Our house in San Jose. Our neighborhood. Normal life. Seemed like a dream. That night after Iris went to bed, Devin and I talked on the porch. FBI agents patrolling the perimeter. Do you think it's really over? She asked. David says the immediate threat is neutralized. Hexagon's people are in custody. Greystone is dismantled. The danger level dropped significantly. But that voice on the phone, the woman who tried to recruit you, she's still out there. She is. And David says there's evidence of other organizations like Greystone. Other contractors doing the same work for different clients. So we'll never be completely safe. I took her hand. No one's completely safe. We just have more reason to be careful than most. She leaned against me. I'm proud of you. For testifying. For not backing down. Even when they threatened to kill you. I didn't have a choice. If I'd stayed silent, they'd have won. And the next witness would have died too. You did have a choice. You chose courage over safety. That matters. The next morning, David arrived with news. Kevin Driscoll was found dead in his cell, he said. Apparent suicide. Hung himself with bedsheets, Devin gasped. Oh my God. I felt ice in my stomach. That wasn't suicide. David nodded grimly. Probably not. But it'll be ruled suicide. He was facing 20 years. Depressed. No evidence of foul play beyond timing. They got to him in federal custody. In a cell that should have been monitored. Which confirms what we suspected. This organization has reach into prison systems. Corrections officers on payroll. Long-term plans. If they can kill someone in federal custody, they can kill anyone. That's why you're still under protection. That's why we're being extremely careful. How long until it's safe? David sat down. Honestly? Years. Maybe never fully. But we're working the problem. Every day we identify more players, more connections, more evidence. Eventually we'll find the top. And until then you live carefully. You maintain security protocols. You don't advertise your location. You vary your routines, so we're looking over our shoulders forever. Welcome to the life of witnesses in major organized crime cases. It's not what you wanted, but it's the reality. A week later, they cleared us to go home. With conditions, security system installed at the house. Panic buttons in every room. FBI agents checking in daily. New phone numbers. Careful about social media. Awareness training. Iris was thrilled to be home. To see her room, her toys, her normal life, but it wasn't normal anymore. She'd seen armed guards. She'd lived in safe houses. She knew bad people wanted to hurt Daddy. You can't unlearn that. Can't go back to innocent. I returned to work at DataStream. They'd held my job, given me time off. But it was awkward. Co-workers didn't know what to say. How do you make small talk with someone who survived assassination attempts? My manager called me into his office first day back. Lyle, we're grateful for what you did. Your testimony saved the company. But I need to know, are you safe here? Is there any risk to other employees? FBI says risk is minimal now. But there's always some danger, he nodded. We've hired additional security for the building. Just in case. And if you need anything at all, you let me know. I went back to writing code. Database queries. API integrations. Mundane work that used to bore me. Now it felt like paradise. Normal problems. Normal stress. No one trying to kill me over merge conflicts. But my phone still rang with unknown numbers sometimes. I never answered anymore. And every time I flew, I thought about Gate B7. About Officer Williams's warning. About how close I'd come to boarding that plane. Jennifer Cow called me one evening. We'd exchanged numbers. Witnesses supporting each other. How are you adjusting? She asked. Poorly. You? Same. I can't stop checking over my shoulder. Can't relax in public spaces. David says it fades eventually. The hypervigilance. The fear. Do you believe him? No, not me neither. We talked for an hour. About the strangeness of surviving when others hadn't. About guilt. About the weight of testimony that sent people to prison. Marcus Webb and I have a group chat, Jennifer said. Dr. Okonkwo too. We check in weekly. Support system. Can you add me? Already did. That group chat became Lifeline. 4 strangers bound by shared trauma, understanding what others couldn't. The trials continued through the year. Driscoll's death didn't stop prosecutions. Others pleaded guilty. Some went to trial. I testified 6 times. Different cases. Different defendants. Same story each time. They threatened me. They planned to kill me. They murdered others before me. Juries convicted. Judges sentenced. Justice system working as intended. But the voice on the phone never called again. The woman who'd tried to recruit me, she was still out there. Her employers still operating. David's task force kept investigating, making arrests, building cases, but it was like fighting shadows. Every time they shut down one operation, another appeared. A year after DFW Airport, I was still alive, still testifying, still looking over my shoulder, but I was alive, and that had to be enough. 3 years later, I stood in DFW Airport, Terminal B, same terminal where it almost ended, flying to Seattle for a consulting job, teaching corporations about whistleblower protection, about what happens when you prioritize profits over ethics. I passed gate B7, empty now, just another gate. But I saw ghosts there, Ramirez, Brandt, the 2 men waiting for me. My phone buzzed. Text from the witness group chat. Jennifer. Flying today, Lyle? Stay safe. Marcus, we should meet up soon. Been too long. Sarah. Zoom call next week? I have news. I smiled. We'd become family. Bound by survival, the trials were finally over. All of them. Kevin Driscoll, officially ruled suicide. But we all knew better. Patrick Holloway, Hexagon CEO. 35 years. Won't see freedom until he's 90. The Greystone contractors. 20 to 30 years each. Airport officials who took bribes. 8 to 12 years. 47 cases reopened. 23 resulted in convictions. Families finally got answers. Got justice. Officer Williams served 2 years probation. Community service teaching ethics at TSA Training Academy. He called me on anniversaries. We talked about guilt. About redemption. About second chances. Stephanie got promoted. Assistant manager at United. Then manager. Now she runs training programs on recognizing human trafficking and corporate crimes. Married. 2 kids. Still working at DFW. Robert retired. Spent his pension traveling with his wife. Became expert witness on airport security failures. Testified in 12 cases. His knowledge helped convict corrupt officials across 6 airports. David Park ran the task force for 2 years. Promoted to assistant director. Now he oversees all corporate corruption investigations nationwide. The case made his career. Jennifer Cow wrote a book. Silicon Valley's Dark Secret. Bestseller. She speaks at conferences about corporate retaliation. Marcus Webb started a nonprofit. Whistleblower Legal Defense Fund. Helps witnesses afford lawyers. Protects families during investigations. Dr. Sarah Okonkwo returned to Nigeria. Teaches environmental science. Still consults on pollution cases. Still fights the good fight. Devin and Iris adjusted. Slowly. Therapy helped. Iris is 9 now. 4th grade. Still collects rocks. Doesn't remember much about the safe houses. For that, I'm grateful. Devin asks sometimes if I regret testifying. If I regret not taking the bribe. Not running. Never. Because 47 people died. And if I'd stayed silent, more would have followed. We still have security. Not FBI agents anymore. Private system, cameras, monitoring. We vary our routines. Check our cars. Stay aware. The woman who called never contacted me again. David says they're still investigating. Following money trails. Making arrests. But it's slow. Some nights I can't sleep. I think about how close I came. About Officer Williams' warning. About Stephanie noticing the pattern. About Robert tracking everything. I was saved by strangers who risked everything because it was right. That changed how I see the world. Most people are good. Most people help when they can. The evil ones just make more noise. I keep that boarding pass. The one with Officer Williams' warning. Framed in my office, ask for gate change. They're waiting for you at B7. 7 words that saved my life. 7. Words that exposed a conspiracy. 7 words that led to 40. 7 families finally getting answers. Last month I spoke at a conference. Tech industry executives. Topic was corporate ethics. I told them about Hexagon. About Greystone. About the choice between profit and humanity. Afterward, a young engineer approached me. Said his company was falsifying safety data. Asked what he should do. I gave him David Park's card. Told him witnesses are protected now. Systems are better. Justice is possible. He took the card. I don't know if he'll use it, but I hope he does, because silence protects the guilty. Truth protects everyone else. I boarded my flight to Seattle. Checked my seat assignment. Made sure it matched my ticket. Old habits, took my seat. Window this time. Not middle, plane took off. I watched Dallas disappear below. Somewhere down there, gate B7, where my life almost ended. Where everything changed. I pulled out my phone. Texted Devin, landed safe. Love you both. Home tomorrow. She responded immediately. We love you too. Iris made you a welcome home card. I smiled. This was enough. Being alive. Being home. Being able to fight another day. The TSA agent wrote on my passport, ask for gate change. They're waiting for you at B7. And I listened. That made all the difference.